Hey wrestling figure fans, welcome to the alternate action figure podcast. We all remember and love dearly wrestling figures by Hasbro, and we remember, unfortunately, when the WWF and Hasbro parted ways in the mid-90s. But what if that relationship never ended? What if Hasbro kept making WWF figures? Join Pablo, Fox and Joe as they deep dive, debate and collectively decide on which WWF superstars would have and should have been immortalised in Hasbro figure form. This is the Alternate Action Figure Podcast.
Welcome everyone to the next episode of the Alternate Action Figure Podcast. I am your host for the week, Joe, JPD Customs. I am joined by Mark Fox, Grapple Arcade, and the Doink Pillow. That is a little terrifying. And I am joined by Pablo Chris. Say hi, Pablo Chris.
Hi, Pablo Chris. Don't mind me. Got my hair cut. Had to take a move. Got 3 cats. Doing the best I can. How you guys doing?
Where you from?
Good.
I'm from the gates something of England. I don't fucking know. I forgot where I'm supposed to be from.
There you go. There you go. So, yes, nothing different there. That's great. Perfect. Thank you, Pablo Chris. This is the podcast where we say, what if the Hasbro WWF relationship did not end? What if the orange cards were released and they're all in my collection and it's beautiful, and it just kept going from there? This is episode 5, and man, it's going quick. So very quickly, to catch you guys up, orange cards have been released. Series 13 was the turquoise cards. This is from episode 1. They had Aldo Montoya, King of Hearts Owen Hart, Man Mountain Rock, King Kong Bundy, Purple Undertaker, and Fireman Sparky Plug, Bob Holly. Next series was the pinky purpley card. Was that magenta? Is that color? We have Dean Douglas with the first Intercontinental Championship that was released. We have the Roadie, curly hair British Bulldog, Skip from the Body Donnas, Alundra Blaze with the Women's Championship, and Aja Kong. The next series we had Lime Green, Big Van Vader, the special character card used by Mark, Jim Cornette, Steve Austin, Mark Marrow. I almost said Marvelous Mark Marrow, but it was Wildman Mark Marrow. Gold Dust, the Ultimate Warrior, and Jake the Snake, Religious Roberts. And then the last series, which the images almost kind of look like orange, or maybe that's slight color blindness on my side, but it is a coral card. And we had Ahmed Johnson with the Gold Strap Intercontinental Championship. We had this young rookie, Rocky Maivia. Another Intercontinental Championship released with Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Savio Vega, the Executioner, and Mankind. Yeah, that's
If I had hair, I'd pull it out right now, but I don't have it.
Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah. It's good stuff. So, like I said to you guys when I was pulling those images up, man, I want all of those figures.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. We are brought to you by J&J Figures, Rock and Roll Collectibles, and Inside the Rope Magazine. So, thank you to all of our wonderful sponsors, and thank you to CCP Podcasting, our gracious producer, who Pablo kind of looks like today. Weird. So, yeah. Anything to add, gents, before we dive right in?
No, I think want to say once again, obviously we'll get into it towards the back end of the episode, but thank you to everybody once again for engaging with us in our posts and sending your suggestions of your characters in.
Thank you.
It was more complicated and trickier this month than any other month
Yeah,
so
it
far,
was.
any other episode.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later on, but we did eventually choose a winner. But other than that, yeah, thank you for getting involved. Thank you for listening. As I always say on the post, this is just a bit of fun for us nerds to kind of nerd out about. The fact that you guys want to kind of take part in that with us is loads of good crack. We do have a special guest who will be making an appearance in some description later on in this episode. We'll get to that when we get to it. But apart from that, man, feel free to crack on.
Fantastic. So we're covering early 1997 WWF. We each chose 2 months. We will take turns bringing forth our six choices, and we do have our special cards that we can use. We have a veto card, which would be used at the end if we want to veto somebody else's pick. Nobody has used a veto card yet. We have a special character card, which would add on a manager or referee or some sort of non-wrestler figure to the series, which Mark has used his Jim Cornette. And I attempted to use mine, but I got shut down. And so that didn't happen. And then we have our
Well, you still get
playset
to keep.
card.
You still get to keep yours, or
Which
don't
was
you,
a
Joe, for another day?
lovely little surprise. I'm glad
Yeah.
I still have it. And then we have the special playset card, which, for example, if somebody was in a steel cage match during one of your months, they could come with a steel cage playset, which would be released alongside the series. All right, perfect. So I will jump into my picks. So I had January and April of 1997. So Royal Rumble obviously leaves you with a lot of picks. 97 Royal Rumble had a lot of kind of like guest appearances. We had some I don't have the list in front of me, but we had some lucha stars popping in and stuff. Would have been really cool, obviously, to make some figures. I don't think it made sense in the grand scheme of things because they were really one-offs, right? So, starting with somebody who wasn't in the Rumble, but was in the World Championship match, Shawn Michaels, long overdue for a Hasbro figure. I am going with a new mold for Shawn Michaels. So I'm envisioning a wider stance, something along the lines of like a Tito Santana, which I'm going to show right here for those on Spotify. Very wide stance legs, right? Something like that, with probably a similar upper body to the Shawn Rick Martel Hasbro mold.
So is this? Okay. I'm sorry to interject there. I was just trying to
No,
picture
please.
it. The bottom half is akin to the prototype that was shown of HBK that never got released. So it's the wide stance leg.
I mean, that was a wide stance leg, but that was
But it had to
essentially the Virgil.
It was Virgil,
Right,
yeah. It
yeah.
was more like Virgil, yeah.
So I'm thinking a little wider than that. And
Okay, all right, okay.
the reason why I'm showing this one will become clear in a second, but the Tito Santana one, he's thinner legs, but Shawn wasn't a big guy, right? And it is a very wide mold. Like he could kind of straddle my microphone here, which we won't do. But
well, that's what he typically does, isn't
that.
it? When he's in the ring, he straddles microphones and everything else he
Yeah,
can straddle.
yes, he can.
Yeah.
So, I also think bonus for this is that the Royal Rumble 97 gear that Shawn Michaels wore was those red tights with the I think it's like the Texas flag in his stars, right? I mean, in the hearts, not the stars, sorry.
Very unique gear for him.
Very unique gear, and it's one that I believe Mattel has made twice, if I'm not mistaken. At least once for sure. So I feel like it's popular enough that it would warrant, and it's a good deal different from the other two Hasbro gears, obviously. So that would be one pick. The next pick, using a full repaint of this figure I just showed, Tito Santana, would be Jerry the King Lawler. He was in the Royal Rumble that year. I think we are well overdue for a King figure. And what better time than now, right? So I think that would be good.
I can't believe he's
third,
made it through our series so far without, because he's been mentioned previously.
I think I
yeah,
mentioned him maybe the
you
first
did.
episode, but there were so many
Yeah.
other characters
Yeah.
that at that time. But I
Very
think
true.
that I think now's a good time to get him out. And the last pick from the Royal Rumble would be Farouk, which I would do a reuse of this Hulk Hogan Super Punch mold, because when he's got his arm up, he's doing the nation pose, you know.
I
So
like it.
a little, you know, I think it works. And Farouk was in his nation gear at this point, and he was being pushed pretty hard. He was in the world title picture a bit, and didn't happen. Obviously, it should have, in my opinion. But I think big star. Him and Ahmed obviously had a good feud going on and off pretty much for that entire period. And we just had Ahmed on the last
Very
series,
true.
so people are
So was that
clamoring for Farouk.
which mold did you put the figure up again? Who you'd use
So
for
the Hulk Hogan
the Hogan
Super
stroke?
Punch, yeah,
Virgil-esque
Yep.
kind. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah. I repainted
Okey-doke.
that Hogan to give him a little bit more of a tan. That
Nice.
kind of neat.
It actually works really well.
Yeah, I kind of thought so. And then April, I'm gonna save the best for last here. April, first two actually, because it's a tag team. A repaint from our first series that we did, another Owen Hart figure that comes with a tag team championship belt, which I've put on my custom Owen Hart. And then his tag team partner at the time, British Bulldog, using the Texas Tornado body.
Okay.
And these are two that we have released in our series, which, I do get that. Bulldog's got the short hair now. So it is going to be different. Different body for him as well. Owen's going to be very similar, and I do admit that. But a different gear. He's got the slammy gear around this time. I think that could work. And it finally gets us some tag team titles. So that's two picks. And then the shoe-in is using the Rick Martel mold that I'm going to hold up right here. He was the winner of the very well-remembered Kuwait Cup that took place in April. Tiger Ali Singh. So
Holy
I
shit.
think
Okay.
that this is one guy. This is kind of going to the not being able to see the future thing. If you remember how he was pushed around this time, I think they really wanted him to be something. It didn't happen, but he won the Kuwait Cup, and if you look up the standings for the Kuwait Cup, he beat some heavy hitters. So
Yeah. No, he did indeed.
yeah. So we'll see what happens, but that's my six. So to quickly recap: Shawn Michaels, Jerry Lawler, Farouk, Owen Hart, and British Bulldog, respectively, with the tag team titles, and Tiger Ali Singh. So
Wow. That is
right.
That's
You
a
want to
list.
end the show here?
Makes me not feel so bad for some of my selections.
Oh, we'll see.
You be quiet, you Pablo.
Yeah.
I'm the host.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
So let's go. Let's hear a word from our sponsor, and then we'll keep this moving along.
Rock and Roll Collectibles is the UK's leading independent nostalgia-filled merchandise store. So if it's exclusive wrestling figures, trading cards and Funko Pops, or music, pop culture, or horror-themed treasures that you're after, make the trip to their Birmingham-based store or head to www.rockandrollcollectibles.com.
We are back. Thank you to our lovely sponsors. Who's next? I believe Mark.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Let's throw some of my madness into the mix, and some not so madness into the mix. Snap into it. So,
That mean you chose
trying to
Macho
think of the
Man?
best kind of.
Uh-huh.
I got February and March, which was essentially Raws to choose from because some of them mattered more than the actual events that I had. Some of the mainly because the characters I've gone for, they wore slightly different costumes and attires, and I wanted specific ones that they happened to wear on Raw and not at the event, if that makes sense. But generally speaking, I had In Your House Final Four in February, and I had WrestleMania 13 in March, which I will definitely be tapping into, along with an odd Raw. Much like yourself, Joe, I was very enticed by some of the Lucha Libre stars from AAA. I was very enticed by the likes of Supernova and a couple of the other guys there because, if nothing else, the costumes, man, and just the spectacle that they put on. For me as a kid, 1997, watching Raw and random Lucha Libre guys turn up, and I didn't know what Lucha Libre really was, other than the snippets that you saw or heard about in WCW, realistically, or ECW. I wasn't accustomed to actually watching any Mexican wrestling though, because I didn't have any access to it. So when these guys were on TV, it was like, holy shit, what is this? This is incredible. This is different. And they all looking amazing in essentially really tuned up, more weirder and wonderful version of like Power Ranger outfits and what have you. Incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
However, business acumen wise and sense, I don't think that Hasbro and WWF would have invested into making those characters at the time, unfortunately, because they were, realistically, business-wise, they were very short-term deals to get a couple of guys on TV, and it was a one-and-done thing. But what we will, I'm going to say, but I included them all. No, I didn't. I didn't include any of them. I didn't include a single one. We're going to start off with. I'm going to jump between. I'll mention the date, if you know what I mean, like the whether it's an episode of Raw, or whatever, or Final Four or Mania, but I won't necessarily clump them all because I kind of watched them all at very different times. I went backwards and forwards on this one. So I'm going to start with Farouk. And I think, based on that,
seeing a trend,
it's a very good chance that Mr. Farouk will possibly make the final.
I think it's a good chance.
There's a good chance. Initially, I was going to go for his attire. Well, I wasn't going to go for his attire, but I just thought, well, he was in the street fight and all. He had that there was that match with Ahmed and LOD and all that. And then I thought, hang on a second, no, his attire was shit in that. He just wore a black tank top vest and black trousers. I don't think he had all. From what I remember, he didn't have all the prints and stuff. So it was just like a plain. And I thought, so okay, well, I'll rewind and go to the Final Four in February. Because I believe it was Nation of Domination versus Bart Gunn, Flash Funk, and Goldust. That obvious combination.
Of course.
Job
they
Squad
went far.
One of the greatest trios of all time. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Well,
when I think Lucha Libre and I think trios, I think about Goldust.
And Bart Gunn.
And Bart Gunn,
Yes, of course.
Flash Funk, I can see, to be fair. But, Farouk was wearing his, his most famously known Nation of Domination gear here with the pattern at the top on the shoulder going down to the chest and whatnot. So I went for that. I initially went for the Jim Duggan mold because of the stature and the kind of he's a little bit slightly heavier set. He's he's not a big guy, but he's slightly heavier set. So I kind of went for that just because he is a bit cumbersome, if you know what I mean. In terms, he's not a muscly guy. In comparison to the likes of Ahmed, he's thick set. He's thick set. So I went more for the Jim Duggan mold with that one. But obviously we can discuss all that towards the end of the episode because there's a good chance that he might get there or thereabouts.
Well, Ron Simmons is a weekly listener, and he just said, "Damn," when you said that.
He did, so, yeah. He said that as well because that was more akin. And he said, "By any means necessary, get me into the final choices." Right, I'm going to move on quickly before I get cancelled for that. Moving on to somebody I've suggested previously. I'm pretty sure I did, but it didn't get in at the time. But I think this is arguably. I might be wrong. I can't remember the exact time frame of. He might just have one more opportunity. But I can't do that. I can't forward think. I won't say that. Okay, I'll stop myself there. But I'm gonna suggest Sid. And the reason I'm going to do this, I'm going to say typical Sid mold, the original Gorilla Press that he had. I don't see any point in spending any different money at the time on that because it works for that figure really, really well. I'd give him a different head mold where he's more angry and shouting like the Toy Biz figure had, which I think exactly how I've said it before. Like, kind of thing with shorter hair, ringlets, ever so slightly shorter. So it made sense for his look at the time. Black waistcoat. That would be a molded on job like Razor Ramones is and like the smoking bar guns is. I'd give him the waistcoat. I'd also chuck him with the world's title because he was still champion as of Raw February 22nd. So I'm going to chuck the belt on him for the crack. I don't know if it's required or needed, but he's going to get it anyway. Because why? If he's a champion at the time, they were definitely going to potentially chuck the belt on champions. I think at this stage.
I mean, we talked about it last episode. I think accessories are going to start being a little bit more frequent now. Getting a little more serious with well, not more serious, but a little bit more money put into the figure line, right? So.
Yeah. I think so. They're gonna want to sort of emphasize who the main stars are, and if they're coming with a belt, kids are gonna spot straight away. Well, that's a champion, even if they don't necessarily, newer kids into it at the time. So I would chuck the belt on him because it makes sense to. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. So that would be Sid. I'd chuck him in based on that time frame. My third choice is going to be from WrestleMania 13 this time. Before I say who it is, I'm going to change the mold. I'm going to do this character in the Mr. Perfect mold because I think this wrestler has had figures in the Hasbro line in the original series, and I believe that the mold, whilst fun, whilst a good mold for this character, it was ever so slightly bigger than maybe needs be as time goes on. So I'd pull it in a little bit. I'd give them the Mr. Perfect mold, and I'm going to say Bret the Hitman Hart.
I knew you were going to do that.
I think Bret Hart could potentially do with a new figure, and a more updated one based on his WrestleMania 13 attire. It's not leaps and bounds difference from what he was wearing a few years ago, but it's definitely leaps and bounds difference from what we were kind of seeing in Hasbro figures in previous series. It's an updated one. It makes sense. And given
Gecko's probably a little bit more detailed these days than it was then, so
absolutely. And given what's happening around the time frame with him, there's a very interesting storyline. He's not just there; he isn't just the interim champion, and he isn't just Bret Hart. There's some interesting stuff happening with Bret around this time frame, regarding his personality and what's going on. And you've obviously mentioned other people who are aligned to Bret that will suit. I'll get into actually in a second.
Oh, interesting.
Because my next choice is the British Bulldog.
Fantastic.
With the Tatanka mold, I've got written in my notes here. Yeah.
And the show right there.
Has that ever happened before?
31st. Maybe Vader.
The same mold.
Maybe Vader.
Okay, all right, maybe.
But you didn't have as many with the big guys, so I mean,
Yeah,
It's like an asterisk there, you know? But that's cool. That's cool.
So with Bulldog, Tatanka mold, based on specifically on a match stroke appearance at Raw March 31st, where him and Owen finally come to blows after falling out for a while. Brett comes down to reconcile, and it's the birth of the Hart Foundation. That is the birth of the heel Hart Foundation, because Brett says, "This is what all these people want. Don't fall for it. Let's get." And then they have a big, massive hug in the middle of the ring, and Owen's got this brilliant crying look on his face, and he's loving it. He's acting so brilliant. He still comes across as the spoiled brat, even in a time where you want to sympathise with him. He's fantastic. But I didn't pick Owen because we picked him recently, and I felt that his attire and look was still fairly pretty.
It is. I agree.
It's difficult to kind of like go with that. So, but I definitely want to go for Bulldog. And based on this episode, Bulldog is the European title champion at the time. So he's going to come with the European title.
Ooh.
Come on.
We're never getting tag title.
I think there's going to be plenty of time for that. Don't you worry.
Oh, dear.
I know, it's such a tricky one, isn't it? Sorry.
Using those
the debate's going to be fun here.
Titles as my tag titles. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Forever and forevermore. Yeah, so Bulldog is the next on my list, and I think it's
quick question.
Quick question.
Yes, Chris.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Ignorant guy to the figure game whatsoever, but I do want to say this.
Come on, then, Pablo.
So technically, Joe has a veto card. Does that work for vetoing championships too?
I'm going to say if you want to, I don't want to say waste, but if you want to use your veto card for just that, then
second question,
good, right?
In the form of Chuck Chris, do I have? Pablo Chris. Do I have Pablo's cards that I can play?
Holy shit! That's an interesting shout.
I didn't think about that one.
I'm totally kidding.
We'll work
Pablo,
it out during
I'm
the
not going
next.
to play any of your cards, man. I just thought it would be a little bit. So.
But I think we should message him right now and say, Chris used all three of your cards.
Do it.
Oh, man.
We'll keep
what
that
happens. But yeah, Bulldog, short hair. Oh, and I will say as well, on that particular one, it's the one where he had like the word Bulldog written on the back of his trunks. I don't know if you've thought that where you're at with that, but I'm happy to discuss attires and stuff if they differ at all. But we know where we are. I honestly
kind of phoned it in for that part of it, so I'm fine with that.
That's cool.
Were they tag champs at that time too?
They were. So technically,
are we getting double belts?
Well, haven't we already got a tag belt with somebody else? I can't remember.
No, we haven't got any tag belts. Trust me. I've been waiting for one. I promise you.
I don't think
if I'm wrong, then I will quit the podcast.
I don't think we can put both tags in with Bulldog because Owen's not going in.
So
I think we can put one in with him.
Tags. Yeah. One tag and one European.
We could go down that route.
Ooh.
We'll get to this. We'll get to this at the
good.
end. We'll get to this during the debate. It's going to be a good debate, isn't it? It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so Bulldog. Bulldog's in.
Yeah. That's good.
Moving on swiftly. And then I'll get into one or two quick little notes about, oh, God, I was tempted, but didn't. My final picks, plural, because I've gone for a tag team. Choices number 5 and 6 will come as a 2-pack.
Oh.
And that will be a new updated version of the Legion of Doom.
Thank you.
Because they appeared on Raw 31st of March again. I would do Animal in his original mold and Hawk in a Macho King clothesline mold, so Animal can sit the other opponent on his shoulders and Hawk can jump off with a clothesline and do the Doomsday device.
Molded
that
on
would be my option.
pads?
Absolutely not molded on accessory spiked pads, but on top of that, they're the black ones with the silver spikes. But they kind of went to this. They looked. It was at the time where they still had tights that very much resembled early 90s LOD, but they were kind of like there was a diamond style shape on them or something. Like so they were still predominantly black with a little bit of red and a little hint of silver on the side of the tights. So they still looked very, very old school LOD to an extent, but they had updated shoulder pads in terms. They looked really good. The black shoulder pads were the things. I can't predict the future, but what I can predict is what happened in that 3-month spell. And from if memory serves me right, I don't know 100%. They didn't wear this color of pad for that long because they were still wearing the red ones as well for a chunk of time. This black pad with the silver spikes, though, I just felt like it had to be. I'd choose that over the red ones because we've already got the red ones in the original Hasbro line. But I would give them the black pads with the silver spikes and the removable. That's what I would go. So that's option
awesome.
number 5 and 6. And again, I can't predict the future, so I don't know what's to come. But I get the impression that they're back and that they're going to be big hitters while they're back. They're going to be going to be big dogs on campus. So.
And similar to Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake, they wanted to get those figures out. Like, oh, we got these big household names back. We're pushing merch out.
They don't know how long they've got them for. They don't know how much gas they've got left in the tank. If we're going to be, that's how WWF. I think it's fair to say this. We're not predicting the future here, but based on what happened a couple of years ago when Randy Savage met a certain age and they said you're too old to wrestle, off you, get behind commentary. WWF were pretty much kind of cutting the rug on wrestlers. They reached about Animal and Hooker around that age range. There's probably not very long left, so they're capitalising on them now and giving them one last run. That's how I envisage this at the time, based on behaviour traits of WWF leading up to this point. So they will be options number 5 and 6 for me personally. And other than that, I just wanted to mention that I really enjoyed Paul Bearer coming out on March 31st to Papa Shango's music.
Oh my gosh, did he?
Believe it or not. Paul Bearer came out to Papa Shango's music, and it was the whole voodoo tribal music stuff. All that stuff. And he came out because he wanted to address The Undertaker because he wanted to get back with The Undertaker after ditching him previously for Mankind. It turned out to be a swerve. Mankind attacked The Undertaker, all that blab.
I do remember that
Undertaker,
part,
the Undertaker also around this time frame started coming out in his long, black, sleeveless leather long coat with a really short cowboy hat. And he started drawing like lines in his forehead to make it look like it was more dented and stuff. But he had like a cowboy hat that was really short. And I was so tempted because I think that look, not that I would know this, but I don't. Well, actually, I can base it on the 3 months that I was looking at. It was very rare. He had that attire on. I think it was a short-lived attire. But I nearly went down that route and I thought, nah, we've already had an Undertaker and I don't need another one just yet. Thanks very much. But Paul Bearer coming out to Papa Shango music really tickled me in all of the right places.
I'm going to go watch that after this.
March 31st, Raw, 97.
Fantastic.
I love the fact you said
based on that,
places. That was great.
Based on that, we're going to head over to our sponsors because they are absolutely lovely and amazing. Over to those guys.
J&J Figures offers a huge array of collectible wrestling action figures and merchandise, including highly limited and exclusive releases. You can order their products at www.jjfigures.com. Or you can catch their stall at wrestling conventions and events across the USA. Their products are solely intended for your collecting pleasure.
Okay, guys. Well, I guess we're back, and this will be my first opportunity as Pablo Chris to try and see if I can make some sense.
You're doing a great job as the host.
Out of this. I'm the host. I'm the host. And you guys, let me show you one of my cats.
Yeah.
This is one of my cats.
Oh,
this is my cat Zeus.
Rescue cat.
Rescue cat.
What a beautiful little cat.
So I know what we're doing here. I like the concept, and I think you guys are going to kind of be a little on the up and up here because tag teams seem to be a thing. And the first set of picks that we
Oh,
have here,
interesting.
there's a tag team that's in the mix that I will get to. We have May and June of '97, so that's Cold Day in Hell, and that is King of the Ring, if I'm not mistaken. And as I look at these selections, I was wondering why there are some people here, and while you guys were running down your list, I was doing some research, and I said, "Well, I know why now because I'm looking at the cards, and here we are." The first pick, I'm a big proponent of, and I think because we're right at '97, Attitude Era is really getting ready to kick in. It's maybe not quite there at this time, but we're right there on the cusp. Ken Shamrock. I think that's an excellent pick. UFC fighter at that point in time, epitomized like the overall attitude of the quote unquote attitude era. If you ask me, straight up ass kicker, can get the job done, like legit fighter. And he says specifically the Cold Day in Hell debut match, he wants the robe with the Rick Martel pose, slight stance, closed fist with painted black gloves. I like that pick. I think that was his debut, I believe, against Vader, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check that. Yeah, he defeated Vader and went 13, 14 minutes. So I think that's a good way to start things off. I think Shamrock is the guy.
It's a great shout. I'll be honest, when I was about to pick going through my original picks, I did think of Ken. He came to mind, but he wasn't as prevalent, if you know what I mean. He wasn't really there. I think he turned up in like joggers and a t-shirt on one event, and then he was obviously a referee in another event of my timeline. And I didn't want to go with any of those outfits, so then he became a secondary idea. But I also assumed somebody would mention him as well.
It's funny when we got '97. I before I looked at dates and stuff, I kind of was like, yeah, Shamrock probably going to be one of my picks, but he obviously didn't work with my months. So
that's right. Yeah. That's right.
I love that one. I think that was great. And I say we're talking, tag teams earlier. Fox with Legion of Doom. We have Owen and the Bulldog. I'm not sure if this is going to be a combo pack or if it's going to be two individual. I'm going to leave that to you guys because y'all are the experts on that, and you would know how to better market that. But I like the idea. The Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher, Nasty Boy torso, Skinner style legs, an arm mechanism for the head.
Skinner style legs.
Yeah, and he says,
but how does that work? That's kind of encroaching on your territory. Last time, Joe, with having the warrior style legs that push up and down. Skinner's got those same legs.
Which was a great idea last time.
Oh, it was wonderful, wasn't it? Yeah. But yeah, okay. I wish he was here to. So anyway, Pablo, seeing as you're on screen with us right now, can you elaborate on how that?
Painted.
No, I won't put you through that.
I could say painted stripped leggings with cloth skirts. That's what I could say.
Skinner style legs.
I would have thought that he would have gone with. I would have thought that you would have gone with Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
I would have, but Pablo Chris didn't.
Okay, dual personality.
Oh boy!
But I like.
All right, okay.
What I can speak to like with confidence is the fact that tag team wrestling to me has always been very underrated and never really appreciated. And the Headbangers, while they were that team that was in that 2 or 3 year run, they connected. They left a mark, if you will, and I think they're one of those underrated tag teams of that era. While tag team wrestling was definitely becoming prominent in '97 and into '98 with the WWF, a lot of those teams are also getting lost in the sauce because there was just too much of it going on. But these guys, the Headbangers, were there as it was building towards that and peaking towards that, and eventually they did get a run with the championships, albeit not very a long run, but they at least got the acknowledgement. And the fact that Pablo won put them on the list, I can dig it. And I just don't know. What would you guys do there? If it was to go to market, would you do them individually or would you do them as a combo pack?
What would you go, Joe? How would you do it?
Well, so you said a 2-pack for LOD. So it's making me think maybe there's a couple 2-packs,
Yeah.
Jack Specific put out the 2-pack, and probably release them singly at some point as well. Obviously, there were several BCA incarnations of them, but yeah, I think a 2-pack would look cool with
Yeah,
them.
I think it's a kind of thing where they would both feature in the same series regardless. Hasbro were known to not mess things up, but change the rules with all of that. Obviously, Earthquake and Typhoon were in single packs, as were Owen and Jim Neidhard were in single packs.
Fatu and Samu.
Fatu and Samu, Bush, the
Smoking Guns.
Smoking Guns. That's who I was going to say.
Bushwhackers, I think, were both, right? Weren't they?
Say again?
Weren't
Bushwhacker
Bushwhackers were
the
both,
the earlier series, yeah, the grey tights with the black vests. That was a double pack in what like a double tag team pack. But then the later on version, the light blue card,
yeah,
with the what do you call it? Sandy coloured kind of camo.
Yeah.
That was they were singles. So yeah, they were known to mix it up. So the way that you've given that answer there makes sense as well. For different incarnations of them, you'd probably get a bit of a mix. But also when it came to the tag teams as well, there was only one time in the entire run for WWF Hasbro earlier on where they brought tag teams all out in its own kind of time frame, if that makes any sense. They weren't like, there wasn't a double pack in every series or anything like that. We only kind of saw it at a specific time. So it's a tricky one, but I am I'm not going to start criticizing or pointing out positives just yet with that. We'll get to that when we maybe do the picks later on. But I can understand elements of that choice for Mosh and Thrasher. Some of it I'm not sold on. But I love the fact that they're an option.
I will also,
because they were on my original list as well. I will say they were on my original blueprint list.
Now I do want to just throw this out there and float it out there now. If Fox were to remove that European Championship, and we don't have to debate if Bulldog's getting the tag title, and if Owen makes it through, we now have tag titles in our universe of figures. If the LOD or if Mosh or Thrasher get through, we have a team. And in a previous series, we have the Body Donnas. We now are building a tag team division within our structure. I'm just going to let you guys marinate on that one for a minute. But that handles.
He's a good salesman, this Pablo.
That handles the month of May. Now, month of June is where I just get like really. And then again, as you guys are running through your stuff, I'm researching this, and I'm like, well, now I understand why. King of the Ring is like one of those pay-per-views where you have a good chunk of people to kind of pull from, especially with that month leading up to it with the elimination rounds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Sure. So as I'm looking over the King of the Ring card for 97, and I'm like, why did Pablo pick these guys? Pablo won. Why did he pick all these guys? And then I see on this card, a lot of the people that are on it have already made our series. So now that explains why the selections are what they are. And this is now where I say, F Joe, because he misled me. I thought that we were going to be in sync on something, but we totally weren't. and of course, that will lead to the first pick for the month of June. Updated Jerry the King Lawler in black and red gear, painted torso for the strap. He wants earthquake legs, as they aren't too fat for the pile driver, and to sit at a commentary table. So it looks like he's trying to do multi-purposes with that.
Okay.
Removable crown is what he's saying. So Joe picked Jerry earlier. That's already two locked in votes on that particular individual. So what are you guys thinking about what Pablo wanted suggested?
I mean,
when you first said earthquake, I was about to throw my computer because I thought you were going with full earthquake mold. But I get the point with the legs, and that could be the way that it went. I mean, having him being able to sit, obviously he did commentary, that would be nice.
Yep.
I still think the super punch mold for me, but
Pablo one's not here, so I think I'm more prone to say Superman punch mold. But that's just me. The next pick, I think, is really probably a cheaper option for the series. Is he an updated honky? Well, not necessarily updated, just a honk. It's Honky Tonk Man. Straight repaint, black, but add a what is this? A prismatic guitar or prismatic glitter? Excuse me.
No.
To the music notes. So really, just a repaint of an older honky figure is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
What's
I mean, he was starting to show up a bit more on there because
he was managing
different.
He was managing Rockabilly, which actually, you know what? Let's just talk about that at one time because that is the next pick is actually Rockabilly, and that's the one I was like, it didn't make sense, but now it kind of does because going up into the last previous months, Honky Tonk Man was on that hunt for the next greatest intercontinental champion, and it ends up being Rockabilly. And I don't know if that's going to be two individuals or as a a manager talent situation or not, but those are the two picks. But that would explain why, because Honky Tonk Man did come back, and that was the whole situation around it. Go ahead, Fox.
Yeah, no, you've hit the nail on the head. I was going to say Honky around that time frame, including my 2 months, was on the hunt because he tried to tap into Jesse James.
Yes.
And famously had his guitar smashed all over the floor. The guitar that was going to be in the Hall of Fame, the Music Hall of Fame. Then I said, I don't want to go in the Hall of Fame. I want to go to the next Intercontinental Champion. And then he tried to palm that off onto Jesse James, who was like, wow, this is amazing. Smashed it everywhere. Ungrateful little arse. But basically, yes, Honky was back on screen. We don't know how long he's going to be on screen for because we can't see it in the future, but he's back, which is interesting. And it makes sense with the gimmick that he's doing. He wants to turn into a manager, I suppose you would call it that, stroke associate of sorts of the next. Of a protege, I think that's probably the best way to describe it. He wants a protege, doesn't he? Of who he can pass on his Intercontinental Championship wisdom onto. And bear in mind, Honky was one of the longest reigning champions of all time, and was until at this period in time, he was the longest reigning champion ever. So bringing him back and trying to do a bit of a skit with him, it made sense. Would he get a figure? I don't know. I really don't know. It's a tricky one, but he was getting some good TV time with it.
He did get a Jax BCA figure.
He did indeed, yeah. And he got didn't he get one of those big, tall, statuesque Legends ones? I might be wrong. I might be making that up. I can't remember. But he definitely got a Jax one. He definitely got a Jax one. You're absolutely 100% right by that. But Rockabilly, now you've mentioned that as well. So let's have what was the breakdown for Rockabilly in terms of the figure mold and stuff, Pablo?
Original Billy Gunn legs, the prototype of Greg the Hammer jacket painted black with appropriate decor is what it's saying.
All right, okay. So he's going all out with the.
Okay.
It looks like that'd be a redo, right? That'd be a new figure, a new mold, right?
It would be brand new. It would. They did have there was a prototype rhythm and blues Greg Valentine figure that never got released at the time because they were trying to do a sort of the partner for Honky Tonk essentially, but it was never released. So I think he's saying to use that, but with the Billy Gunn Smoking Guns legs, by the sounds of it, which is an interesting sounding figure actually. I'd be up for that in terms of having that on my shelf.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
This is going to be an interesting one, guys.
It is.
Yeah, I kind of dig it as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great debate momentarily, but before we have that, Fox had a chance to sit down with someone very instrumental behind the scenes of ECW back in the day. We're talking about Harry Stash. We're going to take you to this piece of an interview that we had with him, and you guys enjoy. We'll be back in a few minutes.
We're joined by ECW legend, Mr. Harry Slash. How are you doing, Harry?
Hey, what's up, man?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's been quite a while since we've had a chat. Last time we had you on, you told us all sorts of amazing, fascinating stuff about behind the scenes in ECW, and the first time you met Paul Heyman in a toilet in a nightclub, and all sorts of.
Not in the toilet.
Okay.
Waiting to use the bathroom.
Potato.
Yeah, I know.
I know that for a lot of our listeners, they'll know who you are. But generally, for the handful who maybe don't, Harry's responsible for the famously famous ECW theme tune. This is Extreme, along with Sabu's theme tune, Hooker Blues, and also another one to add to the mix as well, Taz Survive. I mean, yeah, you know, a bit of a legend in the wrestling music
Super
scene.
Crazy, Tajiri, Dusty, Mike Awesome, Scotty Rigg. I honestly, I've forgotten half the Eliminators. You know, I've forgotten most of the stuff I did because it was so long ago and I'm old and broken.
As the episode is currently ongoing, we're looking at the first half of 1997. We're looking at the idea if Hasbro and WWF didn't split up, the Hasbro lines that we could have got in the time frames thereafter. We've made our way to the first half of 1997. And obviously within that first half of 1997, this random out of nowhere little renegade group of extremists decided to turn up and ruffle a few feathers even in WWF TV, known by ECW.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do right now is very quickly list off the dates in order that ECW appeared on WWF TV in terms of Raw and the pay-per-views and whatnot, because it was essentially an advertisement for ECW's first pay-per-view being Barely Legal. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through cover the first 6 months, so to speak, and then I want to come back to yourself and get some thoughts from you regarding what was actually happening backstage in ECW. Who knew what? Did you know as little as WWF people knew at the time about what was going on? We'll go through that, and then I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you which ECW member who appeared on WWF TV during that time frame should be immortalized in Hasbro figure form. Right, start at the beginning then. Mind Games in Your House, 22nd of September in 1996. We had Mr. Tommy Dreamer, Mr. Paul Heyman, and the Sandman. They were at ringside for that pay-per-view, and it was the infamous, well, the famous, should I say, moment when the Sandman spat beer at Savio Vega. Interesting factoids being that Savio Vega was the only one at ringside who knew that this was part of the act. Bradshaw didn't have a clue, so we were all expecting it to all kick off. Thankfully, it kind of didn't. ECW were escorted out, and then people were made aware of what was going on.
There was an episode of Live Wire prior to that. You just triggered a memory.
Oh, good.
Live Wire used to be the Saturday morning call-in show with with staff calling in pretending to be fans.
Yep. I know where we're going.
And Paul Heyman, quote unquote, found the number and he started taking jabs at Vince McMahon and WWE. And then Vince McMahon looked at the camera somber. Well, that was the promoter of another small Philadelphia-based company, Extreme Championship Wrestling, which was totally fake. Like they knew what was going on. The Savio, Justin Bradshaw, that thing. The Eliminators and a few other people, I forget, who were also interspersed in the crowd in case things broke off. But I knew it was going to happen because Paul told me you might want to watch. More people in ECW knew what was going on than in WWF at the time.
And it was the next night on Raw where Taz jumped the guardrail. He was with Fonzie, and he had the
Sabu fears Taz.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we had the mass transit incident shortly after that, towards the back end of 1996.
Yeah.
That naturally, and rightly so, kind of put a bit of a postponement on plans that were going ahead at the time. I think the pay-per-view Barely Legal was due to roughly be towards the back end of 1996 originally.
Yes. So everybody backed out.
It's interesting because once the pay-per-view company were back on key, if you like, and they were working with Paul again, I'm guessing that's when Paul probably picked up the phone to Vince and said, "We're back on. Can we come back onto TV?" or something along those lines. Because it wasn't until like the 24th of February, wasn't it? When it was the 24th of February was the Raw that
Manhattan
it was
Center.
it was the invasion, wasn't it? Actually, no, sorry. The week before, Paul phoned Jerry Lawler. Paul called him and it was live on air during a Raw thing. And said, "I'll be there next week." It was that kind of kind of thing.
Jerry Lawler called it extremely crappy
That's
wrestling,
right.
and suddenly they had the bat phone on the commentator's table, and
Yeah,
Paul Heyman was able to call the bat phone and be connected to Jerry Lawler.
brilliant. I think it was the week after on the 24th when it was the arguably one of the most famous ECW showings on Raw TV,
Yeah,
being the invasion, the original invasion of Raw.
yeah.
Um,
Just a little back, if you watch the show, it looked like an ECW merchandise catalog in the audience with all these people having ECW t-shirts, right? You remember that?
mhm, I do
Well,
indeed, yeah.
the show had already sold out prior to ECW being announced.
Mhm.
Paul Heyman, in his brilliance, got two people in vans filled with t-shirts. And if people even remotely looked like they were headed towards the Manhattan Center, they got a free t-shirt on the street.
Wow. Yeah. So on that show, as you say, Guido, we had Stevie, Raven made an appearance as well during that whole segment, which was
Yes.
cool to see.
Before that, when Paul
Mhm.
Heyman came out, we had one of our own like ring crew guys
Oh yeah.
what pretending to fix a turnbuckle, and he came out with the eliminators and they hit the kid with total elimination. That's what
Brilliant.
started it.
But then yes, then we go on to poor lamb to the slaughter, Mikey Whipwreck, taking one for the team as Taz destroys him.
I believe in that segment, Team Taz included Danny Doring, Roadkill,
Mhm.
Chris Chetty. I might be mistaken, but a lot of the students were Team Taz.
Incredible.
And then Sabu was going to jump off the R, and the R started teetering back and forth, and technically he kind of fell off the R. I was there live. That was
Oh mate.
that was the first night that any music I did was used for ECW. I had done
Oh
I
wow. I think later on as well, we also got Devon versus Tommy Dreamer, didn't we? In an
correct,
actual ECW style match. It was
correct.
very weapon heavy. It was fantastic to see. Dreamer went over, Bubba attacked Dreamer, Sandman came for the save. Just
Beulah
fantastic. Really, really
Bu-
fun.
Beulah was also in that.
Beulah was in there
Yes.
indeed. Yeah. And
And
that it was a really great showing, if you like, of numerous talents. WWF went on tour in Germany after that, rather than coming back next week and next week and next week. It wasn't until sort of about, I think it was the 10th of March when we saw ECW back on Raw. And it was the debate between
yeah,
Heyman and Lawler.
I don't think there
And
were any I don't think there were any matches on that episode.
there wasn't. I think Sabu did some kind of flip that landed himself through a table when he was aiming for Lawler and Taz, but that was about it in terms of any kind of physical engagement going on.
After that was when Rob started appearing as like Jerry Lawler's crony
Absolutely. Yeah,
on Monday Night Raw. I believe that was in May
it
again
was.
against Jeff Hardy.
That's right. That's right. 12th of May, Jeff Hardy. But yes, from that point on, as you quite rightly stated, that RVD started to have more of a showing in
That's
WWF.
that's
It
when the
was
Mr. Monday Night thing started, and
makes
then
complete sense.
on some other episode it was RVD and Jerry Lawler versus the Headbangers on a Shotgun Saturday Night or something.
The what you had a Raw before that where we had a match against Flash Funk, obviously Scorpio.
Rob versus Flash Funk.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
then there was a Sabu Flash Funk match
that's right. Yeah,
where WWF supplied a oak table that would not break, and Scorpio Sabu was determined to break that table, and you could see the look on Scorpio's face when you watch it back after 4 dives. It's like, geez, enough already.
it blows your mind actually how many crossover appearances there's been, because generally people only ever mention one or two of them. You know, the obvious, the invasion comes up quite a lot, but actually the amount of times that Rob featured, for example, like against Jeff Hardy, his match against Flash Funk, him and Jerry Lawler versus the Headbangers. I think Chris Candido and
Brian
Chris,
Christopher.
Brian Christopher had a match as well, didn't he?
That was unscheduled. We were, I think, Lake Placid,
Uh-huh.
and at the last moment, they decided to call it an interpromotional match, and it was the only time Chris Candido appeared on WWF TV as Chris
As
Candido.
Chris.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I think that's what we've got to play with, and there's actually much more than people would probably appreciate at first in terms of the difficult question of rounding down to which ECW persona, which wrestler who featured on WWF TV in that time frame, if you had to, would you pick to be immortalized in Hasbro form? And unfortunately, we can't see all of them, but you never know which of the members of the podcast might be picking ECW stars here. So it might be an ECW invasion as it stands anyway.
I will tell you who Paul Heyman would have picked. He would have picked Taz. Because Taz was the QB1 of ECW at the time. He was getting the biggest push. So Paul would have picked Taz. Me personally, I would pick Sabu.
Sabu.
Because between the genie pants, the turban, the scars, I think the Major Brothers coined the term toyetic.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the wrestlers that appeared on ECW wrestlers that appeared on WWF, in my opinion, Sabu was the most toyetic.
So we're going to lock it in, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Harry Slash has suggested Sabu. We're going to take that to the panel, and we thank you very, very much, Harry, for joining us again today. Really appreciate it, mate, and we hope to speak to you again very soon. Anything you would like to plug at all at the moment?
I'm releasing an instrumental album, the first album of original material since ECW went bust 29 some odd years ago. I've tried to release other albums, but life said no.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, that was fantastic and very educational. So thank you, Mark and Harry, for doing that. And we are getting a Sabu figure in the line, which is awesome. That's so cool. It makes me wonder, do you think Sabu ends up in the 3 for $10 bin because the people
don't know him?
Don't know him too well.
I don't know.
It makes
it's
me
tricky
so
to know.
sad if that happens.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. I don't think so. It might have been like one of those ones where we're getting into the point where people are based on the timeline where they're wiser to what's going on.
That's
so I
true.
think where
that is
true. I think it's kind of like he's they get when you watch ECW on Raw at the time, there's a hell of a lot of ECW chants. And because on Raw, Sabu did the dive off the Raw stage, capitalizing on that monumental kind of impact, even though WWE did cut to commercial while that was happening, the bloody idiots. But then they recapped it as soon as they came back from commercial, that he dove off the top there. He'd featured in previous episodes where he put himself through a table in a flip, blah, blah, blah. I think he's captured people's imaginations.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think that he...
Hopefully he sells... and sells well. So,
yeah, I'll buy them all if failing anything else.
Yeah, I'll buy one for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then you alluded to it earlier. The fan picks this month were tricky because we had a lot of good suggestions. One that we are going with, several people suggested. 5, I think, 6, I don't know. But between all the platforms, there was quite a bit, and this is somebody that a couple of us chose as well. So it's gonna be a good one. We ended up picking out of a hat to choose the winner because we had so many people pick this one person. So Farouk was the pick, and that was by President Tease on Instagram. So the president, I don't know of what, but he won.
Of tease.
So
teasing, apparently.
Yes, president of teasing. Yes, fantastic. Yes. So congratulations. One of our sponsors will be in touch, and you'll be getting a free little prize, which is exciting.
Awesome.
And so Farouk was mentioned by me and Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I think pretty fair chance that he's going through, but
I think
I am gonna just say no way on the Duggan mold.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
He was thick guy, but I don't think
He was that thick.
He was that big. Yeah. I think I mean obviously I chose this Hogan one and I think that works, especially with the arm. It doesn't have to be this, but I don't want it to be that. Sorry to tell you.
I'm all right with the Hogan one. I don't mind the Hogan one. I think providing, like, obviously he's going to be wearing a vest as well. That's the other thing to bear in mind. He's going to be vested because of his attire.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe as long, I suppose, as the vest isn't ripped, I suppose. Can you know how Rick Steiner's figure looked, where he had the singlet, but he wasn't ripped, whereas the rest of them you can kind of see the abs underneath and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe the Hogan mold, but more the way that Rick Steiner's presented, where it's more kind of a flatter torso rather than having any sort of like big abs going on.
This Hogan isn't super ripped in terms of the abdomen. There's a little bit there. But I mean, I've never been that ripped, so who am I to judge? But but yeah, I mean, I think it would probably be a new molded torso.
I think so.
It would have to have his like kind of unique top. Which was like a cross between like a vest and a tank top, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think I agree with that. I think I'm with you on the punching arm, because he can brilliantly do the nation pose.
Yeah.
The other arm, I would suggest maybe if we could look at a slightly bigger, like an arm that comes out of it, so he could do his slam that he does. You know, his finisher. I can't. The names escape me at the top of the head, because he obviously did the he did numerous kind of signature moves, including like the Bossman slam and all that kind of similar kind of stuff. But he also did. I'm sure at this stage, wasn't he doing a power slam, like the Bulldog running power slam? Am I mistaken? I'm sure it was at the very least it was a signature, if not the finisher.
Yeah.
So maybe an arm that comes out a little bit further than. So then the idea is that somebody can be in that for the finisher.
Yeah.
What do you
so
think
like
of that
similar
idea?
to like a Mr. Perfect like bent arm, which I think is
that
on
could
the wrong
work.
side, or maybe it's not. Is it?
Both of his arms. One of them's really out there, then the other one's still kind of out a bit. So I think that could work. I think that could work, and then the nation arm.
Yeah.
Any means
That's
necessary.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
I like it.
Pablo, before we go any further with that, because obviously he's had 2 lock-ins from us too, and he's had a listener suggestion. Are you down with Farouk?
Of course. Let's go.
By any means necessary. Right, cool. So Farouk has made it into the final. He is locked in. Nobody is vetoing it, which is wonderful to see. Lockdown. Okay.
Locked in.
There's 2 other ones, though, isn't there, Joe?
Yeah, so Jerry Lawler, I'm very happy to say, was mentioned by Pablo, Chris, and myself, which makes it sound like there was 3 people, which is great. That's wonderful.
You're not getting away with that. You're not getting away with
that. So I feel like I'm being such a stickler here, but I'm gonna, the same way I said no to Duggan, I'm saying no to this Earthquake mashup for Lawler. So I don't know. I'm not gonna sit there and be a dictator. But I do think the Super Punch, like Tito Santana repaint for Lawler would be good. So.
What attire were you thinking of for Lawler? Like in your original?
It was, I think it was the same one. You said the red and black? Is that what yours was?
Yeah,
black and red, yeah.
Pablo's,
yeah, so that's what I was thinking of too. Yeah. So red on top, black pants is what I was thinking. Or opposite.
Speaking as Pablo Chris, I I'm more prone to the fist than the legs, and while I get the pile driver, I understand it. I love the second rib fist drop. I just think that it's iconic. I love it. If there's an option to be able to utilize it and drop a fist, I would have more fun with that than pile driving somebody. But that's just me. So Pablo would probably disagree, but Pablo Chris says that I'm okay with the fist mechanism. I think that there's a lot of options that you can do with that if you're playing with these figures and you're in your fig fed. I think there's things that you could do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really struggling with this one because I think he's obviously been mentioned, so I think it's fair for him to go through. I'm not going to veto or anything like that. I think it's fair enough that he goes through. I think the attire choice is right. I'm 50-50 on the legs. Part of me has always hated the legs that Earthquake and Typhoon got. However, they worked brilliantly for Earthquake theoretically because he got to do the squash, which makes sense. But then at the same time, Hogan couldn't drop the leg drop, so like it becomes a bit of a, it was very inconsistent. In fact, it wasn't even inconsistent. It was just that they only ever used those legs once, and it was for Earthquake and Typhoon. Naturally, not that we can use
Bam
this
Bam.
in.
Sorry.
And Bam Bam, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not that we can use this as not that this makes any sense really at the moment, but obviously we end up seeing it with Mattel and Sheamus and whatnot later on, and Sami Zayn figures and things in the retro line.
I'm just not a fan of the leg articulation in general.
I hate them on the Elites. On the Mattel figures. I hate them. I hate standing up the figures on my shelf of the old Hasbros because it's one of the first joints to go slack and they fall over. But I really like his methodology behind why.
I do too.
Because it works perfectly for the pile driver. Of course it does. And sitting behind an announce table. And we haven't got to the point of like those kind of characters yet. But you've got to start thinking of them eventually in terms of if they start to make... I mean, and Lawler... It's just...
Well, so here's a thought.
It makes sense.
The Earthquake mold, Typhoon Bam Bam, they had the legs that moved, but the legs didn't have an action. They were just
That's right.
a swivel joint. And they still had an action up top. And obviously, you're not using the same body as those for Jerry Lawler. That he wasn't ripped, but certainly not that. So, what if? I mean, you're clearly going to be using a new mold for at least the center portion, the trunk of his body, right? So, what if it's a mold that has the super punch action?
Like that, yeah?
Yeah, like kind of combine them. So, like, you got, I'm holding up a Mattel retro Lawler here for those listening. So you got the Earthquake legs here, and then the top is some new piece that's got the crotch and torso all in one. Instead of having the waist swivel, you've got these swivels down here. So this is a new solid piece, and then you still have the super punch.
Freaking out. Are we basically saying now that Jerry Lawler, out of all of the mentions we've ever said, he's the one that gets the most different factory tooling and mold, not reusing anything? Wow, that's interesting. But at the same time,
he's a legend. He deserves
I'm fully
it.
in agreement. I'm fully in agreement with you. I think that's a good meeting of the middle. That he gets the twisting legs, but they're not the primary focal point of the moving figure. He's got the proper. I like the upper. I love the mix between the two. So you've got the upper body to do the punch, and the lower body from the crotch, if you like, down for the moving legs, so you can do the sit down pile driver and the sitting behind the desk.
And I think it's worth saying that Pablo Chris said, I believe, that the singlet would be painted on, wouldn't be molded on.
Okay.
Of course, if we're talking about a brand new piece, you'd think, well, why not mold it on? Because it's a new piece anyways. But no, I think we still stick with painted on, because then we've got this new body style that's in our Hasbro
You can reuse.
bin, and we can reuse it next time, or
Yeah, and
whatever.
I think the problem with molding Jury specifically, if you do mold it, is that he's the only one that can think of off the top of my head at the moment in time who uses the single strap singlet
Yeah.
rather than the double. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people using the double strap, but he's one of the only ones using the Andre strap.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly.
I'm removable crown is also on
Yes.
Pablo's list from what he
Mhm.
was saying before. Is that
I'm
where
fine
you're
with
at
that.
as well? Yeah,
I
it
think
makes sense.
it's cool, because then creative people can use it for King of the Ring, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
I know it's a
That's
bit
a happy
different, but you
medium.
would still definitely
I
use it for
think we
that. Yeah,
reached a happy medium with that one.
yeah. I mean,
All right.
Macho King had a removable crown anyway, so I mean, it's only fair to do another removable crown.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think that's good. I think Pablo will be happy with that as well. I don't see why he wouldn't be. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's 2 of the lockdowns done. Is there one
Awesome.
more? I think there's a bulldog.
Yep.
Oh, let's go. I've been waiting on this one.
All right.
So we're both in agreement with the style, the double,
Yes,
the
and I'm
Tatanka mold.
so happy about that.
Yeah.
So I'm good with whatever attire you chose. I think you said bulldog on the back of his tights, right?
He has, sort of like slightly bubbledy kind of bulldog written bull and then dog underneath it. It's just because that was what he was wearing at the moment when I was watching it. I thought, not been done before, but it's not too similar to the Allied Powers stuff with the big Union Jack on or anything like that. It's just more block colour stuff, more red, more white kind, and then big, was it blue? I can't remember off the top of my head, but more block colour with bulldog written on the back, and then short hair with the double armed Tatanka Texas Tornado mold.
So yes to all of that, obviously.
The difficult bit comes now.
Yeah. Here's what I think. So
Okay.
you've got this Texas Tornado / Tatanka mold. These 2 arms are out. This is the way I had him posed on my shelf with a tag title.
Okay.
And I don't have a European title handy. I'm just going to use 2 tag titles. But he is packaged like this, with a European title on one shoulder and a tag title on the other shoulder.
Man, it's difficult to argue with that at all. I don't know why I would. The only thing I would ever hold back on is...
I don't know why you would either.
You're allergic to Hasbro allow that? Would Hasbro and WWF allow that to kind of happen? In terms of them chucking a couple of belts in a packet, like, I've got no problem with it. But I'm thinking trying to think from what would they have any reasons not to?
Well, so here's
only
the
because
thing.
Only because it hasn't been done before. I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
And nobody's come with
Which
a belt
is fair.
so far, apart from what we've done. To be fair, so we've set a new ground. We're setting new ground rules with belts coming with figures anyway.
DiBiase
is an exception. Yeah, we'll give you that. DiBiase is the exception.
So here's the other part. It's only 1 tag title. Maybe people are buying 2. I probably would have, and I would have made a second bulldog. I would have put some like whiteout or Sharpie on him and used him as somebody else.
Absolutely, he'd have been. He could easily have been turned into a Ken Shamrock. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, not bad. Yeah. A little red Sharpie on the tights.
Little red Sharpie.
There we go.
Yeah. Pretend the tassels are kick pads.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yep. I think it's I can't argue with it at all. I'm not saying that I should anyway, but I'm just trying to play the whole Hasbro mentality of why would we put 2 different belts in there and split the tag team belts up. But I think that that's completely fair enough. I think the fact that you had to buy the ring to get the WWF Championship in the first place shows that they're all for, we need to upsell certain things by putting other things with them and things like that,
And so, this is the 3rd bulldog that's been released second with
By us?
us, but third altogether. So maybe they're
Yeah.
sitting there like, if we're putting out another Bulldog, we gotta, make it a little bit more enticing.
And I think as well at this moment in time, it's that part where he has been a tag team with Owen. We've already got Owen in the line quite recently, obviously. Sorry to say at this moment in time, based on that, I can't see myself voting for Owen for obvious reasons, but only because he's wearing essentially the same stuff that he was wearing too. It's difficult to.
I agree.
I think if anything, the only difference is maybe he's got ever so slight. He hasn't got short hair yet, but he's taken it from
I was sitting
shoulder
there
up to neck.
combing
That's
through
about it.
photos. I was
Yeah.
combing through photos. Like, does he have that real short hair yet? Nah, it doesn't look like it. He just got a little trim.
That's right.
So,
He's just had
but it's coming.
So,
that little buzz cut is like right around the corner.
It might be. We don't know yet. We'll have to book him with a hairdresser, obviously, because we can't predict if he's going to go to the hairdresser in the future. Based on your logic.
True. Fair enough.
But we'll just get him booked in with hair and makeup, and they'll sort that out. But basically, Bulldog. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think Pablo. Well, over to you. Are you good with the idea of Bulldog? Obviously, two of us have voted for Bulldog. We both randomly had the same torso and stuff, and he's going to come with a European and a tag team title.
We're getting both belts. So, like, even if Owen doesn't make it through on this go around, there's an opportunity. Even if it's can't predict the future, but there with the tag boom that's coming in the WWF at this point in '97 going into '98, there's going to be more opportunities to get the other belt there, even if it's a one-off. Like, so ultimately, just getting the tag title into our line of released figures, just one of them is a step in the right direction. So I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm imagining this happening and like a factory error coming out where it's two of the same belt and it's not the tag belts, it's two Europeans.
Of course it is. I think again, not that we can predict the future and not that we can predict, because obviously we're doing it for Hasbro, so other lines and WWF don't exist. But sidestepping what we're doing here for a second, Jack's released that Championship 4-pack where it was
love it. One of my favorite packs of all time.
Yeah, and it was natural. Yeah, it's those belts in particular. I ended up collecting them separately because they're so perfect for Hasbro's.
They're
I just
so
love them so much. But anyway, moving on from that one. So we're locked in with Farouk, Bulldog, and Lawler, and now becomes the difficult bit.
Yes.
Okay, I'll. Joe, do you want to go through yours, your remaining ones who haven't been doubly selected yet?
Yeah. So obviously we talked about Owen. Gonna kind of pass over that one. Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
I'm flexible on the mold because obviously we went with Jerry that has kind of a new mold here, so maybe this one's not a newer mold like I was gonna say. Maybe it's reusing that same Hasbro body, obviously a new head. But Rumble 97 gear, bright red tights with the Texas hearts. He's sorely overdue. If we've had two Bulldogs in the time of this podcast and we haven't had a new Shawn Michaels come out, world champion, or not world champion at the time, but world title picture, former world champion. I do think that this is kind of like overdue for a new Shawn Michaels. And then of course, my other pick, I'm just going to put him on the list already, Tiger Ali Singh. So,
yeah. Okay. HBK and Tiger. My list in terms of remaining are Sid with world title. So that's that. So there's that one. Yeah, it's really difficult to kind of explain why it's worth going for Sid without predicting the future, and I can't do that. So it's a case of simple
Well,
fact is he's just the world champion right now, and he hasn't had a figure since
it's the same argument I just
1992.
made for Sean. He's in the world
Sean,
title picture,
it's
and he
true. However, Sean's had 3 Hasbros until we started doing this. Rockers, white tights,
I
black
forgot
tights.
about rockers.
Yeah, so he's had 3. He's had 3 Hasbros. Sid's had 1,
Mhm.
and in where we are now, he's the world title. He's the champion, and it's
Mhm.
kind of like, why wouldn't WWF push their world champion?
Yeah.
If you
True.
catch my drift
True.
in terms of,
Mhm.
so that would be my argument for him, because my other argument would be regarding my next guy being Bret Hart,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
essentially exactly the same argument for Sean. It's
Yeah.
he's had a couple of figures. He hasn't been brought into our series once yet. He's in the world title picture like Sean is, but also, dare I say, based on what's happening in these first 6 months, it's the start of the Hart Foundation, and we've got Owen and Bulldog in it. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like, oh God. What I will conceive with Brett is that I can't predict the future, but this is the start of the Hart Foundation. I can't see it ending next week, put it that way.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, I think that's
I'm willing,
very, yeah. I mean, it's Bret Hart.
it's not predicting the future, but you can tell that WWF are putting their eggs in the
Mhm.
basket with
Yeah.
something big here, with what's going on,
Mhm.
and I'm assuming, based on being a fan at the time, that this
Mhm.
isn't going to end next week, and that there's going to be
Nah.
potentially other opportunities whilst
Mhm.
the storyline progresses, shall we say, over
Mhm.
the next few
Yeah.
months.
Exactly.
So I think that's
Yeah. I
probably
think
not
that's
predicting
fair.
the future, but it's a fair assumption.
Mhm.
I would argue, if that's the case with Brett, that's the same argument for Sean. Arguably. I don't know.
Sean's Hasbros are just so outdated, though. Brett.
Well, you say
I
that,
agree.
but his last Hasbro, being the black tights one,
Mhm.
was Series 10. So it was only,
Yeah. True.
on the scale of things, it was only kind of like 6 series ago, compared to Sid's, who was about 10 series ago ish.
Yeah. That's fair.
So it's kind of, but I think the only reason why I would be pushing for Sid before we get onto all of Pablo's ones is that it's because he's the world title holder. Like it's just,
Mhm.
I struggle to see WWF and like not push for their champion to
That's
have the
fair.
accessories and the merchandise at the time. You know
I'm
what I
not
mean?
against
And
Sid. To
yeah,
be
I know what you're
fair.
saying though. I know where
Um.
your pro Sean comes from, because it's always going to be an amazing figure. Um,
Yeah.
I just
For me, I'm kind of thinking maybe both end up in Sean and Sid, but
well, let's go through Pablo's, because I
yeah,
think
let's
Pablo's
go
got a
through
few
Yeah,
those.
shouts,
Yep.
right?
I've got
Yep.
one
Yep.
argument to make for
Yep.
Pablo, and that is
Yep.
for Ken Shamrock. Now the other
Just
ones
the
that are,
one.
yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you this why, and here's why. Because Mosh and Thrasher, while I do think they're an underrated tag team at the time, not predicting the future, but the boom is coming for the tag team scene for like the next 16 months. I think there's more time.
They're toyetic. The
I,
kids love them.
I
Like
think
Yeah.
they're not. I don't think they're going
I think
anywhere.
there's more time
Mhm.
to get those guys in and get those looped in.
Yeah. In the 6 months that we're working with here, it's obvious that they're developing the tag team
Yes.
scene.
Yes.
Why would you get rid of over tag teams? That's not predicting. I think
Mhm.
that's just assumption, and that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
agree. Yeah.
And
And I will say as well, if you don't mind me saying so, that his choice of the Skinner legs is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
What's he
I
thinking?
actually, so I keep a list of you guys' picks.
Yes,
And I write the part choices, and I actually just wrote WTF part choices. Watch and Thrasher.
Can't wait
Pablo
to speak to him and
We're gonna
find
have
out
the
what.
talk. Yeah,
What?
there's got to be something that connects it. But
Right.
Do you know what? As well, it was because when you, sorry, Chris, we'll come back very very quickly. But it was when you suggested that same mechanism with the feet. Was it for Foley or somebody? Who was it for?
It was for
Can you remember?
Mankind.
Yeah. So me and Pablo shit
Don't
all
think
over
of
that
him.
because it was such a weird thing, right? But now he's done exactly the same thing after shitting on you for it last time, and his guys don't even have tights on. It's
Yes,
just
that's
skin into
true.
boots.
That's
It's
true.
not like
Yeah.
with a kilt. So I agree with you. I think if I ever suggest them going forward, I wouldn't be going down the same route that he'd gone down. I do like the Nasty Boy upper. I think that's pretty cool. I like the idea of that with a bit of working around it. But lower, you've got to go for Piper, man. Why wouldn't you reuse that?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
they would. They 100% would.
Mhm.
But either by,
Yeah.
I think it's fair to but back over to you, Chris.
Yeah, I
Sorry
think that
for
there's
taking your
plenty of time down the line for that. Jerry Lawler obviously already in, and I'm passing on Honky and Rockabilly, and I'm going to tell you why I'm passing on Honky and Rockabilly, because I look at like with the other suggestions that have been made, what is going to sell, what is going to make money, right? And with other names that have been mentioned, no disrespect to Honky or Rockabilly, they don't fit that. They're not that area. They're not there.
That's what it
And
comes down to. What else is on the table right now
correct.
in
And
front of us? And they
if you're building your own fig fed or you're building whatever, like would you rather collect a Honky and Rockabilly, or would you rather go for a Sean with an upgraded Sean with a belt, or a upgraded Sid with a belt, or a Bret Hart that needs to be upgraded on the cusp of? Those are going to sell. No questions asked. In my mind, as a fan, I would go, if I'm going to a toy shelf and I see Rockabilly, Honky Tonk Man, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Sid, I'm going Bret, Shawn, Sid. Like that's in that, not necessarily in that line, but that's where my eyes are going. They're the bigger stars. The one that I'll argue.
The one thing I will say.
Go ahead.
Sorry, just on the back of that very very quickly before you make that point. And the one thing I will say is if we'd had Sid and Shawn and the big names in the last set, in the last series, then I'd be more interested in going for lesser known names. But if we look at our last series of Ahmed, Rocky Maivia, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Savio Vega, The Execution of Mankind, we're talking majority mid-carders there anyway. So I feel
new
that
guys too.
Yes,
Not
exactly.
lot,
They're the new guys who are coming through, interesting names, but maybe then you counteract that with making a bit more of a headlinery kind of set the next one, and you dip in between like that. Because if it had been like loads of headliners in that previous series, I probably would have been more tempted to go for more lower card. I think Hasbro kind of did that at times anyway, not directly that way, but you know, I think this one that we're picking now is probably the more star-studded series we've had on the table.
Which is why this is a little difficult. And as we're talking, it's like even now
absolutely.
I'm thinking in my head, we have 3 spots that are already gone. So we have 3 spots that we can play with. So even with Ken Shamrock, while I want to make an argument for him, can't predict the future, right? But if we know that we're on the
question about
go ahead.
Not predicting the future. Do either of you guys know? So Shamrock made his debut, I think you said against Vader. Obviously he's a star coming in. He made his debut. Is he coming in on like a limited appearance basis at that point, or did he sign a contract?
He was signed before they even put him on TV going into that the guest referee spot. I'm just trying to make sure. So trying to make sure I get his debut right.
My thought there is you've got this eclipsing name, and this could be used as an argument for or against him, honestly. But you've got this name that eclipses just the wrestling business. You're, obviously putting in some faith with this guy, right? Having him on there. So, do we need to push them out right away?
That's where I was
Or-
going. No, we don't,
Yeah,
because
okay.
like we
Yeah.
see, and that's based off of the other selections and the other choices. We can deduce that they're going to do something with Ken Shamrock, right? Like,
Mhm.
and now
Exactly.
in
That's-
real
yeah, that's
world,
what I'm
we
getting at.
know at some point we're getting Ken
Mhm.
with an IC title. We're gonna get Ken with a tag title at
Mhm.
some point down the line. But you could tell right
Spoilers.
here at this point in time, he's only been around for a handful of months, and I think it's very safe to say that they're putting the machine behind him to
Mhm.
push him in a bigger
Okay.
direction. So I would yield Shamrock.
I'll chuck this into those facts, okay? We can only really know what's happening in the first 6 months of 1997 regarding what he's doing and how he's looking and how much he's being used, okay?
Mhm.
So, if we look at it this way, he had a no-holds-barred exhibition match against Vernon White in April of that of that time frame. So you had nothing until April, okay? Then he had a no-hold-barred match against Vader in May. Then we've only got June to play with. So far he's had 2 matches. One of them was a random, this Ken Shamrock in an exhibition match against some random that nobody knows. The next one he destroys
Nobody's getting
Vader.
a figure based on
Great.
that, but,
I mean, you could argue that if the Vader thing was the first match he had and then he went on every week to start kicking people's asses, then I would argue that maybe we should throw him in. However, following the Vader situation, the Vader match, he had 2 dark matches on Raw in June, and then he won them, to be fair, but then he had 3 house shows in June. Then he had another dark match. Remember, these aren't televised, so people aren't seeing them on TV apart from random snippets. Ken Shamrock, Mankind, and The Undertaker against the Hart Foundation randomly in June in a dark match. Then he was on TV he defeated Rockabilly in June. And then he's at the house shows again. Then he has another dark match. And then he beats Hunter at the very end of June. So theoretically, what's that? 4 matches in the entire month. And the rest of them are either dark matches who aren't televised, or he's got an appearance, or he's at a house show.
They're still working, I think, on his wrestling ability at that time.
Absolutely.
Like, obviously, pure athlete, hell of a fighter, everything like that. There's no question. But
I think right now, based on what we know,
like they're still
he's got like 4 TV appearances or something like that in terms of in-ring action. And they were all, he won them all. They were clearly trying to build something, but it's very difficult to kind of like say now's the time to pull the trigger on all the merchandise when nobody knows really who he is still yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're excited about what could be, arguably, but only if you've caught one of his 4 matches in that 6 month time frame. So again, they're doing something. We've got to the end of June on this show, and the end of June, as I mentioned there, on his match listings. There's obviously going to be more to come, as we'd assume, but we don't know that. But I would if he left the next week, or he became world champion the next week, we don't know. We can only go on the fact he's only had 4 TV appearances. While I'd absolutely love a Hasbro of him, maybe right at that moment in time isn't the time to pull the trigger. So join with what you guys are saying. Sorry, Pablo. I appreciate probably isn't what you wanted to hear, but I do think it was a very, very close shout. If he'd have been on TV more, I'd have gone for him. But my issue was I couldn't go for him because he wasn't really on TV. So that's you know.
I think there's time. I think there's time for Shamrock.
No 2 ways about it. God, I'm so tempted with Rockabilly. I couldn't give a fuck about Honky, I'll be honest. I'm so tempted with Rockabilly to throw that guy.
I'm all set with Honky Tonk Man. I really liked Rockabilly, though.
Honky Tonk, because there wasn't that much of a difference between the getup he was wearing, yes, colour scheme, whatever, but it was the same. It was Honky Tonk, just with a slightly different, you had the black one instead of the blue. I don't think my Fig Fed at the time, for example, would have warranted a brand new honky to be the manager for Rockabilly, if you see what I'm saying. So I'm
Yeah.
going to, personally, I'm going to rule honky out straight away, much like I ruled out my... well, we'll get to that in a second. But I think honky's a no. I am kind of like... I think for the sake of how Hasbro release things, they do like to give up and comers a figure as well, or people who are not all headliners, people who are low down the card. And I kind of, because they're trying to invest something new with Billy Gunn, they clearly see something in him. He's been the tag team champions for ages with Bart. They're deciding to give him something else. They're chucking some shit in the wall, basically, to see what they could be. But Rockabilly, I don't know. There's something. It's maybe silly of me, but there's something that's kind of like maybe.
Yeah.
But then, to be fair though, I'd have him at the same kind of level as the maybe that I'd put on Tiger Ali Singh. I think it's the same kind of.
Well, yeah,
I think
because
it's the same kind of.
as much as I was like kind of joking about Tiger Ali Singh being a shoo-in, I did actually pick him for my list because I didn't even know this until I looked it up. The Kuwait Cup that he won, he did beat several main event guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, they had ideas for him.
They had definite ideas for him, and it's kind of like maybe that would be like,
What was his? My thing is, he won that cup, but what was he doing on Raw? I don't think he featured on anything that I was watching in the 2 months I was
remember
watching.
them doing a lot of
situation.
promotional stuff for him.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of matches. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could take it or leave it with him. My argument against Rockabilly, which is one that I'm split on right now. I really liked Rockabilly on screen. And obviously I would like a Hasbro of him, but we just had Billy Gunn in Series 11. Is it Series 11? Green card? Yeah.
Yep. That's a very fair shout.
He's not vastly different.
Yeah, he's
he's
gimmicks
got a cowboy hat, but
he wears a new jacket essentially.
Yeah. So,
and he takes that off when he gets into the ring. So he still essentially looks like Hasbro.
Exactly. He does.
What I'm reading on Tiger Ali Singh, just for context, he was signed in January of '97. He did win that Kuwait Cup. From there, he went to One Night Only, the UK only pay-per-view. In '97, he defeated Leif Cassidy, and then they sent him back down to developmental. He returned.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to just say exactly the same thing. Like I've got his match listings up.
Yeah.
He did the Kuwaiti Cup. He defeated Salvatore Sensei in April in one night on Raw. That he did fuck all until September, I think it was, or August. So he had one match on WWF TV. I think it's the same argument we've got with Shamrock. Like it's there might be more, there might not be, but we don't know. But based on that first 6 months, the Kuwaiti Cup was great, although it wasn't televised in the UK or the US. And then he had one match on Raw where he did beat Salvatore Sensei. However, that was it until back end of August. So it's like, I think it's the same argument, personally.
Yeah.
But I think right, I'll tell you what, let's get to the ones that we think might be more of a shoe-in. I'm willing to sacrifice Brett because of the reasons I gave before, but I am thinking that I'm going to have to push for Sid with him being the world champion, and they're going to want to push the world champion down the merchandise route at the time, I just think that's where we kind of stand
like
with
I said, I do think Sid would be good.
Yeah.
I'm down for
we
that.
have three. There are three choices, right?
As well.
We've got three choices left.
What are you guys thinking?
That does mean.
What are you guys thinking that are locked in outside of Sid? Because I'm sold with Sid. I think that should be there. I'm also sold on Sean, but that's me.
I am more sold on Sean. Okay, I'm happy to go down the Sean route. The bit that makes me a little like is that LOD haven't had a sniff in the discussion, and it's like they should have, but they don't, and it's a bit painful because
Yeah.
I think that they are. Going back to our tag team discussion earlier on, I think that they are the creme de la creme, and I think people would gobble those figures up. I really do.
Yeah.
They're like the most famous, arguably, tag team of all time. They're the trendsetters. They look cool as shit, toyetic as you can possibly imagine, and now their shoulder pads are removable. It's just, it's so difficult to kind of not think that they would definitely be a high-selling toy.
Well, let's pose this question then.
so
All right,
difficult.
so if we know that Sid's got one spot and there are 2 spots left, and we, with the first half of 96 or 97, you can deduce that that Sean's not going anywhere. You can deduce that there's a lot of things that can happen with the formation of the Hart Foundation. So what if LOD make it through as the final 2, and we know that the rest of 90s
it would track with that same reasoning that we had for Jake and Warrior. There are these household names that are all of a sudden back. They're gonna push them. So I am kind of leaning towards that. As much as I friggin' really want an updated Shawn Michaels here, I am. When you first mentioned him, Mark, I was like, I wish I didn't have anything to do today, because I would totally sculpt these figures and make make an updated LOD for myself. So I'm kind of with you. Maybe it is Hawk and Animal.
I'm gonna just in case I box myself into a hole with that, I'm just gonna. We're talking first 6 months of 1997. I want to make sure that we're doing stuff in the first 6 months of 1997. It's not just a one and done thing, and you don't hear from them.
Sure.
The same argument that we had with Shamrock and stuff. So looking at it here, 1997, they came back February, and then
they had the street fight with Ahmed, I think, at WrestleMania 13. That was a 97.
They did, yeah, with Ahmed, yeah. That's it. So the WrestleMania, they had 2 Raws on the build up to that. Dark, not going to count that. They had matches with the Godwins in April. Hang on. They were unlucky in your house as well, because they had in April, because they went against, they did defeat the Hart Foundation, but it was because of disqualification, so they didn't win the championships, but they were in the picture, if you catch me drift. They were still wrestling hard, so they had about 4 or 5 TV appearances in April, same in May. They had quite a lot in May, actually. They're around, put it that way. They're there, and they're doing a lot of stuff.
See what I'm doing right now?
Say again?
See how I'm on my phone? See how I'm typing?
Well,
I'm thinking I'm locking them in.
Oh,
I'm good with it.
Okay, squeaky bum time. So yes, all right. I feel a bit kind of like I've looked out a lot on this one, because I've got a lot of my guys in there.
Well, it's solid arguments to be made. And it's not like it's not like a lot of these guys that we're talking about we're not going to have other opportunities with. Again, only deducing off of what we know in the first 6 months of 97. I feel like a lot of these guys are going to be repeated.
How funny is it that we have one of the best tag teams of all time, LOD, and obviously we know why they're not coming with the tag titles, but neither of them are coming with tag titles, and then you've got Bulldog coming with a new title and then a tag title.
We just need one more title, guys. We just need one more tag title.
Yeah.
And that's the thing as well. You'll probably people might buy that second Bulldog just to get the tag titles to put them on their LOD figures.
Yeah.
It's like, so I think based on that, we have currently got on the list. I'll hand it over to you, Joe. I'm assuming we've got the same 6 guys. And plus Sabu, obviously.
If not, we're going to have to start at square one, I think. But all right, so Farouk, highly suggested, locked in. Hulk, super punch with like a Mr. Perfect arm on the other side. Jerry Lawler, which the more I think about it, the more excited I am about this new mold type of thing. So it's got these earthquake legs with a new kind of trunk body, and super punch arm, removable crown. British Bulldog, Texas Tornado / Tatanka style body, with a European title over one shoulder and a tag title finally over the other shoulder. Woo.
Holy shit.
Sid, Gorilla Press molded on vest with the WWF title. New Screaming Head. Rah. And then I don't know if we confirmed if it would be a 2-pack packaging or if it would be single cards, but regardless,
Probably single. Probably single. The reason
single.
for that is that
What I'm thinking too.
Yeah, I think just at the moment, I think as we, not predicting, go further ahead, and the more that come up, then we can start thinking about tag series maybe or something that we end up doing as a random special. We'll have a think about that.
Yes, we will. So Hawk, clothesline, Macho Man style, Kid style rather.
Yeah.
Animal, Gorilla Press. Removable pads.
Yeah, removable black pads will make that significant.
With silver, right?
Just so that black with silver spikes, just so they're different from the original ones that came out, and they're removable. And man, oof.
I think that's a hell of a series, in my opinion.
And then on top of that, we've got Harry Slash's edition of Sabu as well.
Very true. Yes.
For a random little, let's just chuck the extra character in there. Wow.
Yeah.
What a series.
Oh,
wow.
Man.
I'm looking forward to seeing the silvery speckled, the grey silvery speckled cards as well, man. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. Gray's your favorite
thinking
color, so.
like graphite or something like that. Like, is that what you're getting at?
So like speckle gray, gunmetal gray, if you will. I don't know,
No, I like it.
Right?
I like the idea of this, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. It was going to be completely. It was going to be completely boring gray at first, though. And you weren't having that. So my reasoning was, we are not a teenager yet. We're not a full-blown attitude era, but we're an angsty preteen stage right now. We're muting our colors a little bit. Yeah, gloomy weather.
Gloomy
the
clouds.
Gloomy weather cards. Yes.
The gloomy clouds of puberty. The greyness that linked in. Oh man, what a cool set that is. I think that's I don't know, but it's up there. The fact that we've dropped Brett and Sean.
I know. The fact that Brett and Owen are my top two all time.
Yeah.
And I am fine with dropping them from this series. Makes me kind of whinge a little bit.
Well, Owen's just been in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's on the shelf. He's waiting for the rest of his crew to turn up. Bulldog's just turned up. Based on this. All I'm going to say is I'm looking forward to the second half of 1997.
Me too.
It's going to be fun times, lads.
It's going to be a good one.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I'd quickly like to
Another
just
banger
say as well,
series.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Plug a couple of things as well. Very, very quickly. Thanks once again to our wonderful sponsors, Rock and Roll Collectibles and J&J Figures.
Absolutely.
As Joe mentioned earlier, they've been nothing but wonderful in providing prizes to the people who get in touch and suggest different characters for our series. Let's carry that going, guys. If you listen to this, just get in touch with us, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook. You know where we are, whether it's at Fig Pod, whether it's on Joe's Instagram page, whether it's on the Grapple Arcade Instagram page, whoever you know, get in touch and send us messages with your ideas and suggestions, because we love reading them and it adds to more intrigue to what we're doing when we're doing this. And it's free for you to do, and there's a chance you'll win a prize. So, I mean, why not, eh?
What have you got to lose?
Yeah.
I've been entering on all of my secondary accounts and I haven't won yet. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. Have you got anything you want to plug, Joe, while we're here? Any bits and bobs that you want to talk about or that you're making and things at the moment?
Well, I mean, just went up for pre-order. KWK, Hayabusa, and Sasuke. They're, speaking of one of our sponsors, J&J Figures, has a lovely exclusive Hayabusa that might even be sold out by the time this podcast drops. I'm so excited. It is. I sculpted these figures in full transparency, and I am just very, very excited about both of them, but especially Hayabusa. I think it came out really, really well, and the factory has done a good job getting the prototypes all ready to go and everything. So
I think you're underselling that. I think that Hayabusa is one of the best figures that's existed, and I'd say the only competition it's got is the Great Sasuke figure, because I'm in love with that figure, mate. Dude.
Yeah.
When I saw that prototype just before it was posted online, I said to Sean, figure of the retro world, like it's done.
Really?
Mate, I think it's so good. Truly, I think it's so good. I think I think between yourself and the new people making it at the factory, unreal. It looks so good, and with the robe looks so good as the addition to it as well.
I didn't even see the robe until they posted it. That was the first time I saw it, and I said that looks fantastic.
Those two figures, man, they're amazing.
Yep.
If I could be so bold to plug Inside the Ropes magazine.com, where you can find an incredible array of magazines that we've been releasing for the last numerous amount of years now. It's a monthly magazine released in the UK and America, but obviously shipped worldwide. As long with our InsideTheRopes.com, you can find our live events in the UK. We've just announced a new live event coming up later in the year with Billy Gunn. We're bringing him over for a tour, which should be really, really fun. Rockabilly! He didn't make the final, but he maybe will next time. We'll see.
Maybe.
And very quickly as well, I'd like to plug, I alluded to it very briefly in the last episode, but we've now formally launched the National Wrestling League, which is a brand new promotion in the UK.
Oh, exciting.
It's going to be great, man. We've already announced our special guest managers. If you can imagine the perfect hybrid between soccer rules, in the sense you've got a manager, you've got a league table with points, and you've got teams, but then it's in the world of wrestling. That's what this is.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to have a team in the northeast of England. We've got a team in central England, in the UK. We've got.
Is this going to be
teams
streamed
in
somewhere?
South UK.
Can I watch it?
It is, yes. We're working that out as we currently stand. There's a few
good.
discussions going on with worldwide streamers, so we're looking forward to that. We've announced the date, which is like August the 9th. It's going to be in Newcastle, so where the teams all congregate, and there's essentially teams playing each other, and points come out at the back of that. We've got September 27th in Manchester, and we've also got what's the other one? We've got Glasgow as well on October the 10th, I believe it is. We've announced some of the talent in the teams, and we've also announced some of the managers, if we want to call them that, in the teams, which includes TNA alumni, or is he still there? I don't even know. Grado. We've also got Kurt Angle coming over, and we've got D'Lo Brown coming over as well. There's going to be numerous other legends to be announced. We'll leave it there, because I'll get told off. But check it out, National Wrestling League. Get yourself onto the website, thenationalwrestlingleague.com, to find out more info, because I'm very bloody excited about it.
Well, you know,
Mr. Pablo Chris.
If it has
Mr. Pablo Chris.
If it has to do with independent wrestling, man, I'm all for it. Just say less. I'm all about it.
Go for it, Mr. Pablo. Mr. Pablo Chris, why don't you plug, because you don't get the opportunity to plug the events that you're involved with. Get it out there, man.
Oh, brother. If you guys are enjoying what we've got going on here, give us a follow at CCP_podcasting. If you're in the United States, you're in Central Florida or in Florida area or surrounding, because we are traveling, we have our own set of live events that we are working on currently. Our next one's coming up on the 16th of May. It is entitled Victory, and it will be in Orlando, Florida. We have crowned our first heavyweight champion. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this guy up, because
look at this big guy.
Oh yeah.
Right, send pictures of that to Joe so we can make figure versions of that, please.
I will. Where we do is
actually, yeah, if you could, that'd be fantastic.
As a matter of fact, for you guys over there, like with the plates specifically, I've got flags of everywhere in every continent, in every country rather, that we have a really big base in on our platform. So literally, dude, that's
a beautiful belt.
Yeah, it was a pretty fucking.
You got some dual plating. It looks heavy.
It is. It's definitely not worth carrying through the airport. I've had to do it many times before. But guys, yeah, it's a fun ride. I like to say that we have our pulse on the independent wrestling scene all over the world. So if you guys enjoy the independent scene specifically, hit us up there, and you'll be able to tap in with what we've got going on. Of course, with our fine fellas here who have brought the alternative action figure podcast our way. It's always a fun time anytime we get a chance to sit down with you guys, because y'all are great.
Always fun having you on, man.
Always fun. Always fun. And yeah, cheers, Pablo, and cheers, Joe, and a big shout out and a thank you to Harry Slash as well.
Yes, thank you. That's awesome. Very cool.
Cool, guys. Well, that's all from myself and these guys.
Yeah.
So, sayonara, and we'll catch you all soon. Take it
See you
easy.
soon, folks.